Guys, it's Miss Coconut. How are you doing? I'm doing well. So, I have to talk about this conspiracy. Now, I'm not going to prove a single thing in this video, but as always, I just love to talk to y'all about these things. As you know, I do wear a tinfoil hat tiara. So, there's a conspiracy that's been floating around that says that we are headed for a global currency reset. GCR. And basically, this is by definition when the nations as a whole, all the way around the world, get together and decide on a global currency system. Okay? Apparently, they're saying this has happened a few times in history, and that the last time this occurred is when the United States dollar was pushed as the currency that all of the nations would use to back their currency. Now, they are saying that supposedly, allegedly, the reason why the United States got to dominate the world market at that time is because they had in its possession most of the world's gold supply. Now, that's interesting to me, okay? Because no one knows where this gold is today. You can't even go to Fort Knox, so wherever they say supposedly the gold is. Fort Knox is guarded by so many security armed men and women. It's guarded by landmines, steel wire, barb, electrical pulses, etc., etc. But no one of the public has seen the inside of this place in forever. The last tour was several years ago, and it was really a bunch of important people. So we really don't know if we have this gold in our possession or not. Anyway, as you know, we went on to become this great superpower, and people were dying to get over here, literally. And at some point, our dollar started to be devalued a little bit. So anyway, here's the conspiracy. They are saying not only is the U.S. in trouble because they have trillions of dollars in debt, and the largest holders of the U.S. debt is, I think, Japan and China. Okay, but all of the countries around the world, as you've seen over these last few years, you've seen their dollars tanking, their whole economies going bust because they all are in debt. They've all been printing fake money and backing it up with fake money. So what the conspiracy people are saying is that the U.S. dollar is going to crash. Now, if you watch any prepper videos, you've seen this warning come down the pipeline for at least 50 years. You can go back and you read it like it's happening today, and the article is like 2010. But they are warning us, and they've been warning us that the dollar is going to crash. Some financial analysts say, no, that's not true. The dollar can't crash because the foreign markets are heavily invested in the U.S. dollars, and they wouldn't allow that to happen. But what if all of the global superpowers have come together to decide they want to reset the currency to give it a level playing field and kind of squash this debt and get started over? And if they collectively agree to do this, then all of them would take the hit, so to speak. What we are seeing right now is something strange going on. Whether you wear a tinfoil hat or not, you can't deny that the schools closing indefinitely, stores closing up, business being forced to shut down, stores running on restricted hours just for food runs. Even the banks are saying they're closing some branches down. Everyone has to be aware that something sinister is happening right now in the United States. I saw an article today that was saying that they are proposing that Americans be allowed to take money out of their 401k, at least up to $100,000 with limited penalty, because normally there's a penalty for early withdrawals. Now, no one in their right mind would say to anybody, take your 401k out, unless they know that it won't even matter in a little bit. You know, the only reason why you would take that money out at deferred interest or a deferred penalty is to buy gold or land. So they're sending these messages, and we are trying to decipher what are they really trying to tell us? Because normally taking money out of your 401k is really taboo for most people. It's not a smart move. Okay, so besides that, we did see all of the CEOs of lots of major corporations stepping down this year, including Bill Gates. We saw so many of these upper echelon people dumping their stocks, including these CEOs and senators that have inside trading knowledge. We are seeing the shutdown of many businesses, and we are now in a recession. Pretty soon, it will happen that people are losing their jobs. That has already started. They're going to bombard the government for assistance. Everything's going to be plugged up. It's going to be hard to get through. And pretty soon, people are going to try to figure out how to survive. Meanwhile, the people with money, they divest their interest. So they take their money out of the stock and move it into gold, land, or foreign investments. So how do you crash a market? How do you convince the people that you need to switch the currency? It's very simple. Start a worldwide panic. Now here comes this big thing that just hit us, supposedly from China, which, by the way, is one of the largest debt owners of the U.S. So this alien that has occurred and started to ripple its effects throughout America, that is now crippling the economy, has everyone fearful of touching. So, but what better way to say to us, we need to introduce a new currency that's digital, that's quick, that's fast, cashless system. You don't have to touch money anymore. You don't have to worry about checks anymore. What better way to introduce a new currency that way, with a virus that is scaring millions of people into touching anything? So now here comes the idea that, is this what the whole cryptocurrency was really about? Because China, I think, along with Vietnam, are actually working on their own cryptocurrency. So now cryptocurrency, remember, everyone was getting into it and touting it as the new way to, well, not even new, because they say it's been underground on the black market and the deep dark web, forever. We just didn't know about it. But they're saying now that they set that up to see how it would work. And then people got in and started investing, and then that crashed. And everyone said, oh, cryptocurrency is nothing. It's gone, no need to worry about it. But if we can't leave our homes and we can't go out to work and we can't shop, but we need items, what better way than to be able to do it electronically? So now the idea of cryptocurrency becomes very feasible again. So it's going to be very interesting over these next few weeks what's going to happen. Right now, it's safe to say we are a recession. Now, this is going to get a little bit more interesting when you start to look at the effects of shutting down governments, businesses, privately owned, public businesses, transportation, grocery stores. As they begin to shut down all of these things that are non-essential to our survival as we know it, how will that ripple down financially through the various markets? How does this relate or parlay out into the neighborhoods that have lack in them? Because we already know the rich get richer. In fact, they always say when these type of crises happen, there is a small group of people that always profit from it. So we're going to talk about some ways that you could begin to store up resources for your family as you're hit with the financial difficulties that some of us have already begun to see. As usual, I've proved nothing in this video because I'm getting all this information from other people getting this information. I do recommend at this time that, it's important to listen to what the financial analysts are saying. It's important to read these bills that are being passed around, but it's also important to listen to what the preppers have to say. They hate the government. They have lots of good resources for you. But most importantly, it's going to be really critical at this time that you keep your spirits lifted. I promise you, some of us that have, grew up poor, we know what it's like to struggle and survive and eat, pork and beans every night or whatever the case may be. Well, in this generation, it's oodle noodles. But we know what that's like, right? So we know that in spite of, you have to really center yourself. Family becomes so critical, making amends, being at peace with yourself, right? It becomes so much more critical at these times because in the end, that's all you're going to have. But there are other things that you can do as well. Make good financial decisions at this time. That's going to hopefully put you in a position where you're not standing in the lines. There's lots of allowances being made. This is not the time to go spend your money frivolously, though. But look at some of the allowances that are being made. Some of the mortgage company landlords, the utility companies are all offering breaks. So plug in to see what's going to work best for you and your family during this time of difficulty. And most important, stay connected with your source, your inner guide that's going to tell you what you need to do, what you shouldn't be doing. Make sure that you are doing things that bring beauty into your life. This is a great time to learn about herbs and gardening and the weeds that are in the ground in your backyard. This is a great time to work on cleaning your home, spend time with your family, enjoying one another. I'll be back with more videos discussing all of this craziness that's going on in our world today. As always, Om Shrim Brezi.